right, let's talk a little about Hawaii. And you know how I told you in the other video how United States defines race is what's in you biologically, and ethnicity, or however you say it, is where you're from or your culture and all that stuff from the 1800s. That's where our people's from. So we're Hawaiian, but our what's in us biologically is Israelite. So we're Israelite Hawaiian. Okay. James Cook arrived in Hawaii January 18, 1778. Now you got stories from your history books of how he was this and that and the other. I wouldn't say he was this, that, and the other. He was all right, but he had a lot of bad qualities too. Not as bad as Christopher Columbus, but yes, still some bad qualities. Anyway, when he arrived in Hawaii, he received a warm welcome. But after a period of time, him and his crew had wore out their welcome and they were asked to leave. According to the history books, he did the, what do they call it, doctrine of discovery for England. So as he left, he returned back August 8th, 1778, because he needed repairs on the ship because something went wrong with the ship. When he came back, he was not welcomed. And a series of events that occurred on both sides, and the end result, his death occurred on the beach. But I want to talk more about the events that happened to our people and our people's land. On March 30th, 1820, congressional missionaries arrived in Hawaii. After they heard all the stuff James Cook had said when he got back, they were just bound to come. So they were given a 1-year stay on a trial basis. So when that trial basis was up, they refused to leave because they enjoyed the orgies and the opium dens and all this stuff. Of course, they were missionaries, but the men were still enjoying the other sins and iniquities that was going on. Okay, so August 8th, 1840, a written constitution was made based on the missionary influence. Now I'm going to talk about Hawaii, about, the people before these missionaries and stuff came later on. But right now I need to get this in. Okay, so when the missionaries came and everything, and they changed the constitution, disease spread, they changed the land reapportionment occurred, reapportionment, which is they start giving land to the common people other than Hawaiians. So after all this happened, a constitution was signed, and which outlawed surfing, kite flying, the hula, language, the chanting, the dances, even took the flag down. They called it, the missionaries called it hedonistic and evil. So it was outlawed, which I didn't even try to pronounce it. So anyway, but I guess they're not, I don't know. They just wanted to take over as usual. But since that doctrine of discovery from James Cook had occurred, so around like July 6, 1843, the U.S. had a recognition form, and November 28, 1843, the Anglo-French had a recognition form, which both of them showed that Hawaii had external sovereignty. But I guess that didn't mean anything to anybody. So in 1875, King, I can't pronounce his name, Klakaua, he signs a treaty, Reciprocity. And basically, it's a treaty for 1854 to 1865 where it's free trade between North America and the United States. So in 1891, things start flourishing. He became a 33-degree Mason. He began remodeling the palace, and he got ill. His sister was sworn into office. And as soon as she got in office, which was like January 14, 1893, she signed the opium bills into law and the new constitution. And January 17th, 1893, John Stevens had recognized the provisional government, which were the grandsons of the missionaries. The grandsons of the missionaries came in and they decided to overthrow the government, led by Lauren Thurston. They ended up holding her hostage. They said they arrested her, held her hostage in her home, and she was held there for like 2 years. She released like 9/16/1895. They had charged her with 5 years and a $5,000 fine. But let's go back for a minute. February 19th, the provisional government had put themselves in office. I think it was a Wilcox cabinet or something. And they sent people to Washington to negotiate a treaty and union. While they were there, the president of the United States at the time, which was William McKinley, did a manifest destiny and annexed Hawaii after an unofficial coup de, whatever you say, coup de, whatever, D-E-T-A-T, occurred from the white plantation owners, which were enforced by the Marines. So they ended up taking 1.8 million acres of land. They seized it. And they overthrew the government. Now, in the meantime, while this was going on, the sons of the missionaries exported a large quantity of confiscated opium, and they sold it to British Columbia for $50,000. So while this other stuff was going on, you had the grandsons overthrowing the government while the sons were stealing things. And these are missionaries. So, but right now I want to go to what has occurred in 2016. A descendant of the Attorney General of Hawaii at the time was John Owen Smith. A descendant turned over papers that showed Sanford Dole. He was the president at the time. He originally gave Hawaii to the United States under some congressional resolution. Anyway, the paper had stated for January 17th, 1893, he advised not to make known of his recognition of the de facto provisional government until said government is in possession of police station. That just showed his involvement of the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian government.